Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Okay, this is a long story. I, 27 female, asked my stepdad, 52 male, to walk me down the aisle instead of my biological father, 54 male. Let me start from the beginning. When I was 12, my dad divorced my mom and left us. My mom had full custody, but I still wanted a relationship with my dad. He lived a 5-hour train ride away. So every Friday for 6 years, I'd ride the train for 5 hours to go visit him. And I was happy doing that because I loved my dad. When I was 14, my dad married my stepmom. She had an 18-year-old daughter. I got along with my stepmom, but never really saw my stepsister because she was at college, which was a 4-hour flight away. When I was 15, my mom married my stepdad, and he was amazing, loved me unconditionally, and always made an effort to attend all my athletics and important moments. But I still would see my dad on the weekends because I loved him. At that time, I thought everything was great. I had a huge family and loved everyone. When I was 18, I asked my dad if he would come to my high school graduation on a Saturday 2 months away. He said yes. 2 months go by, and it's the week before my graduation. My dad calls me and says he can't go to my graduation because my stepsister's is on Friday before mine. The thing was, he'd have time to go to hers Friday and catch a flight and still go to mine Saturday. He told me he didn't want to do that because we aren't that close, and I never made an effort to be close to him, so why should he? He said he liked my stepsister better and had a better relationship with her. I was crushed. We didn't speak for 5 years. I focused on school, which my stepdad paid for. I got great grades, and he'd always be the first to congratulate me. 3 years ago, my dad got divorced again. He cheated on my stepmom, and her daughter cut off all ties with my dad. In that time, he wanted to reconnect with me. I agreed. We had an okay relationship. I'd see him maybe 2 to 3 times a year. Now, I'm getting married in 6 months, and asked my stepdad to walk me down the aisle. He has no other children. He can't have his own kids, and has been a real father to me for over a decade. I told my dad that he would be invited, but would not be walking with me. He was upset, and told me I was being selfish and taking away the only opportunity he'd have to walk his daughter down the aisle. That I was ungrateful for everything he has done for me. I didn't feel like an a-hole, but my stepdad said he would be fine sharing the moment with my dad, and doesn't want me to have any regrets in the future. But I'm not sure if I want him to have to share the moment. He is the one who put in the work for that moment, not my dad. So am I the a-hole? Should I let my dad walk also? When OP was a teenager, it was her who took the 5-hour journey to see him. OP didn't mention him coming to see her. He also was absent from OP's life for 5 years because he told OP that she didn't make an effort, while he was the one who was not putting in any effort and cared more about his new family. He only comes back into OP's life when he screwed up things with that family. OP should straight up tell him he ended their father-daughter relationship when he told OP that he liked his stepdaughter better than OP. And now let's see if the community has the same opinion as me. Katie Fall says, OP, I let my dad walk me down the aisle out of guilt and obligation. I wanted just my mom to do it, but I knew my dad wanted to and would be mad if I didn't have him do it, so I asked both of them to. Parents divorced when I was 17. Dad had a drinking problem and was emotionally absent my whole childhood. I forgave that, but he continued to treat me like crap until adulthood. Of course, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with how anything went that day, because obviously, my wedding was about him and how he felt. Different situations, but 5 years later and I wish I'd done what I wanted. The day is for you and your future spouse, nobody else. If he can't put his ego aside for one day for you, then he can duck all the way off. Jaden B44 says, not the a-hole. Tell him you don't want to do that because you aren't that close, and he never made an effort to be close to you since your graduation, so why should you give him a spotlight? Besides, you like your stepfather better and have a better relationship with him. Surely he can walk stepsister down the aisle. Between Weeb and Otaku says, not the a-hole. Ultimately, it's your decision. If you want to justify this one, he told me he didn't want to do that because we aren't that close, and I never made an effort to be close to him, so why should he? He said he liked my stepsister better, and he had a better relationship with her. I mean, damn. Notice that his objection now is about his feelings, not yours. Your stepdad is being gracious as duck right now, which speaks so highly of him. Blood relations and family are often two different things. Some background. My ex-girlfriend, Emma, 26, and I, 26 male, were together for 9 years. We got together when we were 13 and broke things off when we were 22. We were friends since first grade. We grew up together. Our families became quite close, and our friendship circles were always intertwined at some point or another. This will be important later. We drifted in different directions as we got older, and we realized what we wanted from our relationships were ultimately different. We no longer had romantic feelings for one another, so we decided we would be better off as friends. We were best friends anyway. There hasn't been anything romantic since we broke up, nothing of an S nature either. A quick hug here and there to say goodbye at most. I truly haven't felt that way about her since things ended, and she's the same. The breakup was very amicable. Now the issue. My fiancée, Sarah, 24, and I have been together for almost 3 years. I proposed a few days ago, and we are set to be married this year. I was so happy when she said yes. Our relationship has been great, amazing communication, always smiling together. It's been wonderful. She knew about my past with Emma, as I was very upfront with her about it when we first began dating, as Emma and I are still friends. Our families still get together for sporting events, have parties, and hang out together all of the time. My parents are really close to hers, and our siblings, 22 male, 25 female, 17 female, 18 female, and 19 male, are good friends too. They are all really close. They even have a weekly pizza night. We also have a few common friends. I didn't want Sarah to feel uncomfortable at any point, so I tried really hard to let her know everything I could and take the right steps to show her she is my number one. I would always include her in family events, make sure my family would spend time with her, and have even tried to create our own rituals together. I adore this girl. I think she is incredible, and from the day I met her, I've been head over heels. She hasn't voiced a single problem to me about any of this until today. She would even encourage me to invite Emma over to get-togethers we have hosted, or along to movies or dinner with our other friends. I was under the impression Sarah really liked her, especially considering the extra effort she would make to include her. Sarah and Emma have always gotten along, and they haven't been anything but nice to one another. I thought they were friends. She told me today, after taking time to think about it, that our friendship is weird and shouldn't continue. She gave me an ultimatum to end our friendship or she will end the relationship. She said she feels disrespected I would even consider keeping someone I had a relationship with in my life. I couldn't get a single word in before she left. She's staying with a friend tonight. I don't understand how any of this could happen. She seemed happy. This is meant to be a positive time in our relationship. She said nothing has happened between her, Emma, or our families. I don't know what to do. She's been blowing up my phone with texts, and I don't know what to say. I thought I did everything right. Emma and I are still friends, not overly close though, but we definitely don't cross any kind of boundaries together. We don't speak about anything inappropriate or do anything we should not. She's also in a relationship at the moment. We don't talk every day, and we don't see each other one-on-one or very frequently. Sarah has also mentioned that she is uncomfortable with our family spending time together after we have broken up, and wants me to put an end to that behavior as well. I can't control what my family does, who they see, or who they are friends with. They've been nothing but kind to Sarah. They make a real effort to make her feel special, and even include her family. I don't know what to do. Is my friendship wrong? Should I talk to our families? Or is this ultimatum unfair? Edit. Just want to mention, because I've gotten a few comments about it, that Emma and I are no longer close. I see her at events she is also invited to, or when Sarah invites her along with us and our friends to do something. I don't actively seek her out for one-on-one time, or invite her places myself. I don't even message her or text her. She's in a relationship too. Our families are close, parents are best friends, and our siblings grew up together. They even still have sleepovers. That means I'll see her places or run into her, that it's really hard to avoid, but I really do try. I wanted to make that clear. I have made an effort to set up boundaries to make Sarah as comfortable as possible. I've tried so hard. Either OP's fiancé has spent 3 years lying to OP, or something is feeding her insecurity and manipulating her, or she is getting cold feet and demanding something she thinks OP will break up with her over. Either way, making demands and then not having a grown-up discussion with your fiancé about making decisions together is a bad sign for the future. It is very immature in my opinion, and a big red flag. And now let's hear the community's opinion. NMAX says, It kind of sounds like somebody got in Sarah's ear and fed an insecurity. Take her out for a coffee or something and ask her where this is coming from. Tell her that your relationship is your priority, but that you need to understand where this is coming from if you're going to end a friendship over it. Try to get her to tell you what's actually going on. Don't promise to control your family. That's unreasonable and something you can only fail at. My guess is that this is a scapegoat for something else that's bothering Sarah. You just need to find out what it is. Sissy Jones says, someone has been feeding her ear poison about your relationship with your ex. Such drastic change is suspicious. Or long-hidden insecurities have come to the surface. Or perhaps she sees her engagement and eventually marriage as a chapter of her life she doesn't want to share with her significant other's ex. Or it could be a combination of any of those things. SuckZB says, it sounds like Sarah was talking to an uptight friend or family member. Something just seems fishy here. You need to have an actual conversation about this. She can't just lay this on you and then bolt. Update. It's been a very eventful 3 days, and after all of the advice I was given on my last post, I thought I would share an update. I also want to thank everyone for their words of wisdom and kindness. I read every comment and took them all to heart. I really appreciated it. This update is long and not what I was hoping for, but what happened has happened. I couldn't get a hold of Sarah for 2 days. She wouldn't answer my calls or my messages. I'd left her a voicemail asking her to come home or to meet up somewhere for coffee so we could talk together. I let her know I loved her, that she would always be first. I heard nothing back. She's never been like this. If we ever had an issue, we would always talk it through. We even had a pact to never go to bed mad at one another, and we never have. But she didn't come home. She didn't even reply to me. At first, I thought she wanted some time to cool down, but it just kept getting later. I couldn't stop thinking she would walk back through the door. She didn't. I heard nothing from her. I could barely get any sleep. I texted her, explaining I'd do whatever I could to show her how much she means to me. I explained that the only reason I saw Emma was at gatherings for mutual friends or family friends that she tagged along to, or when Sarah invited her to events herself. I told her she didn't have to do that I didn't want it or need it. I only wanted her. I said I wouldn't attend any get-togethers I knew Emma would attend at all. I also tried my best to explain that our families were very close before Emma and I got together, and that I couldn't control who they were friends with. I did tell her that we could talk through, and that maybe we could come up with something together that would make her feel more comfortable. I let her know my family loves her. She didn't reply. It took everything I had to not keep calling her to see if she was okay, but I didn't want to upset her further. I read some comments saying it might, so I tried to listen. I still hadn't heard from her by the afternoon of the next day. I tried to call her again, but it rung out. I sent her another message telling her that I just wanted to know if she was okay, and that if I didn't hear back from her soon, I would have to start calling her family or her friends. I didn't know if something had happened to her. This was so out of character. She's never done this. I was so worried. She texted me back straight away. I'm fine. I'm not coming home. That was it. I tried to call her. I knew she was right there. I figured she would pick up. I called, but she had turned her phone off. I didn't know what to do. I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I didn't know what I should be doing. I didn't know what would bring her home. I just wanted to talk. I wanted to make it better. I ended up going to my parents' house last night. They live close, about 5 minutes on a slow day. I was an absolute mess and didn't think I would cope by myself. It was about 8 p.m. when I went over, and I hadn't heard from her again. I went to bed in the spare room. I was only asleep for a few hours when crap started to hit the fan. My phone was going off. It was Sarah. Where are you? Did you run back to her? I had no idea what she was talking about. I told her I was at my parents'. I told her I was coming home. I begged her to please just stay. I was fumbling trying to get myself dressed and find my keys. It was about 2 in the morning. I kept dropping everything. I wanted to be gone. I was halfway out the door and that's when it happened. She pulled up in the driveway and was absolutely livid when she got out of the car. She was screaming at me, yelling her head off, and no matter what I did, she wouldn't calm down. The street my parents live on is fairly echoey. She was loud. People started flicking their lights on, and our neighbors started to come out onto their porches. It was a crap show. My parents came outside too, and my mother started to try and talk to her. They've always gotten along well, and she wasn't responding to me no matter how much I tried. Sarah wasn't having it. She told me she knew what I had been doing behind her back, that her family knew, and I was lucky enough to be given a chance to cut my ties and move on after having an affair for so long. I have never cheated on her, let alone have an affair. I love Sarah. I wanted to marry her and be with her. It didn't matter what I said. She wouldn't believe me. She wouldn't listen. She kept calling me every name under the sun. My mother asked her to please come inside to talk, that it was a misunderstanding, that I loved her, that they loved her, and we just needed to talk it through. Sarah started calling her a B, a terrible mother, a crappy person. Told her that she knew what I was apparently doing, and even encouraged it. How sick she was for that. My mother tried to explain herself, that this wasn't happening, and that's when Sarah slapped her, out of nowhere, full force. I went silent. My mother started to cry. Sarah started apologizing over and over. It was instant regret, or at least it looked that way. It didn't matter. I ended it right there. I told her to go, that the engagement was off, we were over, and that she needed to get her things from my house. She was crying, still apologizing, but you can't come back from that. She hit my mother. She's never not shown all the love in the world to Sarah, and for her to do that to someone, let alone someone that means that much to me, was enough. I don't know why she wouldn't listen to me. I don't know why she would choose to believe these other people over me, why she wouldn't even talk, but it doesn't matter. I've never felt this empty. I gave 3 years of my life to someone who refused to even talk to me or believe me. I thought I knew her. I thought she was kind. How can you go so long with someone and not even know what they are capable of? All I know at this point is that I plan to stay single for a while.